We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And that is it. Two-man crew. What else is new? You know, it's a new era, as we always like to say, and it's just the OGs back at it, me and Alex, for tonight's podcast of Stir the Pod, Battle of the Eras. What is this, Alex? Episode 0?
Yeah, I think it's episode 0.
I mean, this is preseason. We're a week away, Alex. A week away from maybe the biggest challenge season of all time.
This is, it's early mid-August, so it's preseason football time. This is our preseason for the challenge for season 40. You know, we did our nearly 3-hour season preview a couple weeks ago. And it's crazy that 7 days from now, the episode 1 will be here. Season 40 will be here. I'm just fired up. I think in the past, I feel like the challenge has done these like little specials. I feel like usually they'll do it on like the Monday before the first Wednesday. But I feel like this is a big enough season. I enjoyed the hour that we got here tonight. I enjoyed a lot of the people that we got to see and hang out with. So I'm glad we did this. I don't think in the past we would kind of half watch it and like not do a podcast. But I think this, like you said, this is the biggest season of all time. So let's just kind of stretch these muscles a little bit and get right into season 40.
Yeah, looking at this season in this episode, I feel like I never watched these. I always like going in kind of blind. So for me, this was kind of weird to watch. I felt like it was why is this not episode 1? Right? Like, why do they just call this episode 1?
What are you saying? Like, why wasn't this just part of episode 1 next week?
Yeah. Like, I like seeing, like, especially this season, like, you can go on and on. Like, there's so many people. Why not just combine it with episode 1?
Well, the thing is, I don't know. I kind of liked that. I liked that tonight, the hour that we got, they never like got to like the beach to start the daily or any purge or anything like that. I liked that it was literally just like them in a house. And I think that's kind of what you need to do for episode 0 if you're going to have an episode 0. But like, I think something that stood out to me tonight is just like how big this cast is and how big it's going to feel. So especially for that reason, I like that they had an extra hour just like before the season starts, just to give us like FaceTime with a lot of these people, some of whom like we might not like see, after episode 2 or something.
Let me go this route with you. Is this season too big? Like, do we have too many people? I mean, we had confessionals of like minutes. I mean, these people that weren't even shown tonight.
Exactly. And like, even when they're having 1.5-hour episodes, starting next week, like I'm sure the 0 confessional people, it's going to be like probably half a dozen or something just because there's 40 fucking people on this cast.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm glad we just kind of got to like hang out with them all tonight.
So where do we want to begin with this? Just at the start of tonight's episode? Is that where we want to attack?
Well, what was your favorite thing from tonight's episode?
I think my favorite thing was, and we didn't even really see it, was who's this mystery person coming in the house?
All right, let's start with that.
So we're starting at the end?
Yeah, let's start at the end.
Okay. The fact that the entire night they're teasing us, oh, who's this mystery person? Obviously we know who it is. But even the little like silhouette, it's like a unlockable character. It's pretty damn obvious who it is. And then you got this clown walking in at 2:45 in the morning, cowboy hat on. I mean, what in the Glen Powell is he doing? Like, this is just
come on.
This is just out of control. I mean, Jordan being back is awesome. I just can't wait for the people's reaction.
When they wake up?
I mean, yes. Like, I almost wish it was just a little earlier in the night so people would see him. I mean, he's just strolling in at 2:45, like just pushing the gate open, like honey or like daddy's home. Like, it's just crazy.
So that they alluded to it right away because they would show like the eras and they'd have the little question mark and the silhouette in the bottom right for the 10th person, even though like as viewers we all know who it is, like he's listed as part of the cast.
Yeah.
And then a few different, I feel like it was mostly people on era 3 on Jordan's team that said like, I'm doing the math here and we're short a guy, like I hope we get somebody. And of course like the Tori had a thing where she was like, I hope we get somebody iconic. And I thought she was going to say, like, I hope it's anybody but Jordan because of their history. So I think that might have been a little staged. And then I also thought it was funny that I think it was like within the last 10 minutes of the episode, they cut to Leroy and they're like in the pool at this point. And Leroy's like, I'm doing the math and we're short a guy. And it's like, yeah, everybody else figured that out right away.
Yeah, it was almost like re-explaining the rules, but like it was just like part of that episode.
Wasn't that Casey's old job?
Yes,
On the dailies.
Just insane.
Is there a better, like if I were to tell you before tonight's episode that some challenger, one of the 40, is not on the, like not there at the start and then comes in at the end, would you guess that it's Jordan? I feel like that's the most Jordan thing to kind of like have this huge long thing, like him or Bananas. I would say.
I was gonna say Bananas would be my guess.
I feel like Jordan is just like eating this up.
Oh yeah, but I think Bananas would have been more classic. Like, did you really think you would have a season 40 without me or something, and then walks right in? Like that just seems like the Bananas move that he would do. But yeah, no, having Jordan back, awesome, love it.
And I do like that. They didn't show the cast reactions to finding Jordan.
I know. I have the itch now to find out. It builds
into the anticipation a little bit more. And I feel like if they would have shown, Bananas and them waking up and seeing Jordan, this might sound weird, but I feel like it would have felt too much like a normal episode. And I think
does it, let me go this route with you. Does it hurt that Jordan's just walking in and they're just gonna wake up and he's here? Like I feel like it would be better if they were drunk, like at the party, like at like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like I just feel like it's like they're just gonna all wake up and like he's just gonna be like sitting on the coffee, or he's gonna be like sitting on the counter just drinking like some coffee, and they're just gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing here?"
I mean, at least like any of them with a brain, which is obviously not all of them, they were probably speculating that it would be Jordan, right? And like the Bananas, CTs, like Theos of the world, like they're probably like praying that it's not Jordan because they know just how fucking good he is.
Yeah. I just feel like we missed a good reaction. Like I'm thinking of moments where, when people come into the house late, like Cara coming in during Rivals too late, everyone's like, fuck, I gotta, deal with her. Why the red face? Bananas winning those are iconic moments. Why not? Like, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity when they're all together, they're all poolside, him just strolling in with his cowboy hat on. Oh, it would have been good.
Yeah, but let's not rule it out yet. Let's not rule out a good entrance yet because, next week they'll obviously address it, but like it could kind of be smirky in its own way.
Maybe he's just like strolling through the house and he hasn't gotten to the backyard and they're still like, it's still 2:45. I'm sure those cast members go to bed at like 6.
Or maybe it's something where like he goes to bed right away, but as everybody's waking up in the morning, Jordan wakes up with them. He goes and takes a shower, and then it's like, Devin sees him and he's like, what the fuck? And then he goes and tells like Amanda, and then she tells Cara, and then Bananas hears about it and he's like, what? Like Jordan's not fucking here. And it's just kind of this like rumor that spreads for the first couple hours of the day. Like I think they'll do it, maybe not in the best way, but I think they'll do it in like a fun way to watch.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for Tori's reaction.
And we kind of talked about like the era 3 and their, how like well-rounded they are and all of that on our preview. But like think about it from those guys' perspectives, like Devin, Corey, Leroy, and Tony. Like they're all good challengers, and they're all wondering who the 5th guy is going to be. And then they all find out that it's somebody who is better than all of them and like one of the best guys ever. Like, are they going to be pumped because they have like a really strong challenger? Are they going to be worried that he's going to try to, like pushed him out of the team, something like that. Like I'm excited for everything that they don't know that Jordan is actually there yet.
Yeah. All right. So let's rewind a bit. Let's go to the beginning of the episode. I feel like the first major thing, they kind of talk about era one, which I feel like we can kind of skip over because we've kind of already attacked it. Era two, we kind of get a scene with Emily and Brad.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I know. I thought so too. How much older is Brad than Emily? Like, I mean, this just shows. I mean, people forget Brad was hooking up with Brittany.
That's where my mind went. Yeah.
And now he's hooking up with, like, Emily's got to be a few years older than Brittany.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Well, it's just so weird to think that like the one challenge those two did together was Cutthroat,
And
which
that was
was
12 years ago.
yeah, and which was Emily's first season, and which was also Brad's last season that he did for a very long stretch. Like he came back after that, but like the fact that both of them did that season and kind of Brad's almost last season, Emily's first season, and then they both. Well, I guess Emily disappeared later, but then like the fact that they are like yucking it up tonight, it's kind of weird.
It is very
And they
weird.
weren't on the same team on Cutthroat. That would have been the one thing is if they were like partners, but like they weren't partners on Cutthroat.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like they're gonna hook up during the season and they just got a clip together and kind of like, yeah, let's foreshadow it or what. But I just felt like that was awkward.
I agree. I think it was.
And then kind of moving on after that, we kind of had, and this is still with Eras 2. I mean, Eras 2's girls, we've talked about it, are just amazing. Top to bottom.
Yeah.
The best.
And they talked about that tonight.
Yeah. I mean, Bananas literally said the girls are going to carry our team.
Mm-hmm.
Cara and Laurel. And it's crazy to me, kind of this triangle right now of those two. And then Paulie. I didn't realize how much Paulie hates Laurel.
What did he say tonight about Laurel?
He basically said, you can never trust her. She will always be the same person, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
She is the worst human being possible. And I was just like, where did this come from?
Well, I almost interpreted that as like him being more frustrated with Cara.
Ooh.
Like, how do you keep like making up with this girl? Like, you guys are clearly never going to be friends. Like, just stop trying to be friends each season. But that is kind of the Cara Laurel story. Like every season they kind of start as rivals and then they make up and then they turn to rivals again. We just saw it on All Stars 4. We've seen it on the previews for this season. Like, and we mentioned this on our preview show. Like, I do think the Cara Laurel dynamic and that storyline is probably the number one storyline this season, just in terms of like competitors and competitor relationships.
Yeah. And I'm curious how they're going to work together because you saw it throughout tonight's episode. People that were these rivals or whatever you want to call it, kind of like, just trying to, make peace with each other. It was kind of funny. I mean, you saw it later on with Amanda and Cara. There was a little Tony Corey moment that we'll get into shortly. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season when it comes to that. Like, at what point are these people going to start turning on their own team and stuff like that? And even what the format is, I'd be curious if it's like, if your team wins, like, is your entire team safe? Or are you still, I'm thinking like Ruins-esque where you vote somebody in.
Yeah.
Is it going to be kind of like that route?
There's still a million different ways we can go. And I think that's probably why a lot of these people, at least for now, are trying to be kind of buddy, kumbaya, because they just don't know what it's going to be like. But like, if TJ says that, you guys are voting your own team members in, you're competing against your own team members, like everybody's going to take the knives out right away.
Absolutely. So interesting. So let's talk about the whole Tony time moment with Corey. I mean, I have to laugh. You good?
Yeah, let's go.
You want an STP bet of the night or something? You want to throw that in?
No. We're going to the 8th inning.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Tony Corey. I mean, those two guys, how are they not like best friends? I feel like they are a perfect match for each other. And they kind of hinted at, the last time you saw them, Corey, what was it, Pastagate?
Yeah,
Body slam. I mean, just like a classic moment. Corey gets kicked off the show. Tony, like, didn't something happen to him during the body slam? Didn't he say like he broke his arm or like obviously he didn't, but like didn't he say like he hurt
I
himself?
think so.
God. But what do you think about those two working together?
I mean, I love it. I think they're, like you said, it feels like they should be friends. Did did Tony say anything tonight about their rivalry? He didn't, right?
I think it was just Corey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a weird thing because like they had that one Pastagate moment, which and Corey's done a few seasons since then. Tony didn't. Like that was Tony's last season that he did. And so it's just like I'm all in for it. They're two of like the most notable faces from that era. And they're obviously on Jordan's team, but like I feel like I consider them in the second half of that era. And they were like two of the guys that kind of stood out the most. They're both sort of like same caliber. They're both good at similar things. But I just like, to your point, I think one of the sneaky underrated things about era 3 is going to be like, did Tony and Corey try to get along? Or are they just going to be rivals the whole time? It seems like Tony doesn't really care as much. And Corey's kind of hyping it up. Corey did the whole, play the Pastagate clip. He's done that a few times. He's good in the confessionals where he's like, hey, go ahead, play this clip. I know you guys are going to play it. Like he does that a few times. So I kind of respect him doing that with the Pastagate tonight. But
Corey's great TV. Like,
he is. Exactly.
He knows, and like to your point, he knows how to play the game, which like the TV game. Like he's like a mini Bananas, but he's not to that level at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to be, but he's not there. But yeah,
and I'm glad we have both of those guys on this season. And I don't know if there's a huge like bump from getting them on the same team because I just don't know how much of rivals they really are. But obviously they're on the same team, so I'm excited to see how they both decide to work together.
Yeah. Leroy, how about are we surprised he's back or not?
Well, you got to be because he retired.
Oh, come on.
He retired like 2 years ago.
Yeah, retired. We all know this challenge retirement. They're back within 2 years. I mean, come on. Are we that surprised? How many seasons did he take off? Just one? Was it just 39? Wasn't he on 38 or was he on 37?
I think he took 2 off.
2? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, if you're taking a retirement, at least take a few years off.
Well, it's also stupid because last season, remember they did no champions? He should have just been on fucking that season.
Probably would have won.
He would have been number 1 in our power rankings.
Oh.
If you're gonna come back out of your stupid, pointless retirement, don't do it on the season with 39 other people. Do it on season 39.
Unbelievable. But his video of Cam and the kids, I mean, just classic. Got to be the longest challenge relationship now, right? Or Zach and Jenna still won there too?
Oh God.
No,
I think it's Cam and Leroy
over Zach and Jenna. I mean,
yeah, because Zach and Jenna have some gaps in there.
I was about to bring that up. I mean, African Bumble, Bruno. There's a lot of moments that just pop up. So, God, did you go like this? Jesus Christ. All right, moving on. Devin and Devon, what do we think?
So they were the hosts of tonight.
I know. What do we think? Are they taking over?
I don't think so. Although
I've been on the record thinking this could be the end of TJ Lavin. Like he's got to be close. He's not going to keep doing this forever.
TJ's little speech where he was saying, how much everybody's grown. He called era 2 my era, which is kind of fun because that's obviously where he started. So maybe there's some bias there. But TJ's little speech was good, but I don't know if he's ready to hang it up just yet. It's the easiest fucking job in the world. But I do, like if you told me he has 2 seasons left, I wouldn't be totally shocked. Like, I do think the end is closer than we probably think.
I mean, you would think, though, if we were to put odds of next host, I would say Bananas has got to be up there for one, right?
Yeah. At this point, yes. Like 5 seasons ago, I would have said maybe like The Miz or somebody.
Come on.
But Bananas is probably close to just
Victor
being funny.
Cruz.
Victor Cruz.
Was it Bernie Davis?
Didn't Romeo host the season?
God. Little Romeo did not host the season.
I think he did.
No, he did not.
But so Devin and Davon, as kind of being these hosts, just like during this little party that they have, it was. I mean, I like that they had them there, but like they didn't either give them 0 camera time and don't have them, or like give them more camera time, because it really was like they had, which each of the 4 eras they had like a 30-second little like chat to kind of like start the conversation with each of the teams, and like I don't know, it just went by really quick. But what I was thinking is this the first time we've had challengers on the show
that weren't
actually challengers on that season?
I mean, come on. I think so. No. Well, in that aspect, yes, because you could say like mercenaries and stuff. Like technically, they're not on that season, but I know what you're saying. Like they're like, it's kind of like breaking the fourth wall almost.
Yeah, they're not competing in the game at all. They're just there, but they're also challengers. It's kind of like the reverse of when like Toad went from being like the host of Mario Party to being like a contestant in Mario Party.
Correct. I mean, that is just a crazy analogy.
That's what came to mind right away.
God. All right. Good. I wish we got more airtime. I actually like them both a lot. I don't listen to their podcast or anything like that, but maybe I should.
Well, wasn't it the Challenge official podcast?
I thought this was.
Well, yeah, I mean the runner up.
What's that other podcast that does the challenge stuff?
The one that's like $400 a month?
No, it's not that one. The one that's like $750 a month. What is that called?
It's like Challenge Mafia or something.
Some stupid ass name. I don't know. So let's talk about the next person. Battle of the X's. Era 4. Theo. Welcome back. Has a kid now.
Yeah.
Somebody has their eye on him. We'll get into that. But I know I was a huge Theo person. And I think it was Adam and Andy were a huge Theo person. I know you weren't sold on him, but I'm excited to have him back. I know you. I think you put him in your power rankings like 11 or 12. I'm fired up to have Theo back. He's a great competitor. He's a beast. He's not scared of anybody. Clearly brought up the clip of CT tonight of him just not backing down. Love to see it.
I believe I gave my War of the Worlds MVP to Theo over anybody else. I've loved Theo since day one. He is a king. His eye looks like it's all fixed. He has a son now, which I wasn't aware of. I think his name is Aries. It's kind of smart. He has a kid. He has a kid just like Corey.
Wait, Corey has kids?
So Theo has dad strength now, and I'm just all in for Theo this season.
Yeah. What do you think about who has their eye on Theo?
I love the Theo Olivia duo here. What do we call them? Olivia?
Olivia
I like Olivia. I like that they're both kind of newer faces to the show. They're both
good looking. They're a perfect couple.
They're both good looking. They both shown, like they both made finals on their rookie season. They both, been like overall good, charismatic challengers. Olivia, even though she is from Alaska, I think. She feels like she's kind of UK-ish in a way.
Yes,
And
I like
that's kind of like what that's obviously where Theo's from. So I like they both give off that UK vibe. So I'm all in for this. And I like that, we talk about what episode 0 is compared to like the actual season. I like that they did preview something like this in episode 0 so that like when we get to episode 1, maybe they have a daily where they're picking partners or something, and Theo and Olivia are partnered up. Like I kind of like that they foreshadowed something silly but also interesting like this on episode 0.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is Olivia's 3rd season.
Yes.
Has she dyed her hair every single season?
Yes, I think she's going on.
She went from blonde to like a ginger, and it's dark now, right?
Yeah, I think she has 3 seasons, 3 hair colors.
Crazy. I think she looks the baddest in the blonde.
I don't know if anybody else has pulled that off. Most hair colors per season.
Oh, come on. She's batting 1,000.
Cara Maria, maybe?
No, but Cars is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but she's gone from
This
like
is
red
like
to
night
black,
and day different. Like,
purple.
God. Moving on. I know you put in the notes Rachel's toast. What do you want to say about that? To be honest, I think I kind of checked out during that part. So,
Yeah, I thought it was fine. My main takeaway was just that I was surprised that Rachel was the one giving the toast. I think if we would have put the odds on the toast before episode 0, Bananas probably would have been the favorite, but probably not like awesome odds just because you have so many people, and having Bananas do it would almost be too on the nose. But I would not have suspected Rachel to be the one.
I feel like the one thing this episode with the toast, it made me miss Nelly T.
Oh my God.
Hear he. I mean, one of the worst toasts of all time. All time. But I love the man.
That toast is so legendary.
Him back. I love Nelly. So after the toast, let's talk about this house. This house is banging. This is a sick house. It's got to be up there as one of the best challenges. And I bulge at every season. I've been watching Pluto. Every time I turn my TV on, the challenge Pluto comes up, and I always see beginning of episodes of each season every so often. And I always love, like, this is the best challenge house of all time. Like, this might be season 40. The only thing that worries me, how big of a house this actually is, and how many rooms and how many bars and everything like that. Are they even going to go out?
Well, but they don't go out anymore.
They would go to the club.
Would they?
Didn't they go last season out?
I don't know.
I thought they went out.
They either go to like the backyard bar, or they go out to somewhere where they have like their own private room and they don't interact with anybody. I feel like either way, that sort of thing is kind of died down.
God. Well, at the end of the day, they got to be watching their budget a little bit. This house is very expensive. They don't want to keep going up because at the end of the day, the number one question we got to be asking ourselves is who's paying for this shit? I mean, seriously, how much do you think that Airbnb costs per day? I mean, that thing is how many bedrooms is
so if we're talking about the best challenge houses of all time, I mean, I do think this one is right up there. God, and it's huge, and it makes sense because this is the biggest cast they've ever had. It's 40 fucking people. They were all making jokes about how there's no bunk beds, so it seems like they have like more bedrooms per person than usual. They have more space. They have like these huge rooms. Like they have that room in the house that's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a big staircase almost, but like you sit on the stairs, if that makes sense. It looks like I saw it in the season like trailers and everything, and I thought it was like the elimination ground because it looks like it's that big and wide of a space, but that's just in the house.
I mean, it's banana lands. This house is sick. The houses that come to my mind, I still think my favorite house, I love the Fresh Meat 2 house in the woods.
Ooh, okay.
God, I love that house. It's not really like the pool vibe or anything like that. I think Rivals 3 has a really cool house as well. I think Battle of the X's 2 has a sick house too.
Was that was the one that had the pool in the backyard?
Yes, I think it's the one, if you can remember the cast photo with Jordan jumping in the water.
Yeah.
I know you know what I'm
I
talking
feel like
about.
so many of the cast houses kind of blend together. Like the Fresh Meat 2-1 does not. Like that one sticks out on
Yeah,
its
it's off in
own.
the woods.
Yeah.
Because like
Uh,
Rivals 2 was like the one that was like literally like they're dying. Like it was like
I just picture the sweat
hot as hell.
and the
Yes, it was like
bug.
in the forest, like essentially. Yeah.
I kind of like the free agent's house. That looked like a cool house. I feel like it
Cool.
was very like glass walls everywhere. They had the pool in the backyard. They had like the weight room where they talked Jordan and flipping the cards. Like I kind of like that one.
I think was it Total Madness one?
Total Madness was underground.
No, that one sucks. The bunkers, all the ones underground suck. What was the one I was thinking of then? I don't know.
But this one, season 40, is fucking awesome.
It's crazy. So, all right. After the house, pool scenes. What do we got to say about the pool scenes? I mean, we saw a few people. I mean, we had people naked night one. I mean, it's classic challenge.
Yeah, I love this part of the episode. This was like the last 8 minutes or so, and it was just kind of them all relaxing. You know, they spent the first 50 minutes, in their suits. They were all dressed up, trying to be all proper and everything, and then they finally just like
Take
start
the training wheels off.
taking their clothes off, jumping in the pool, drinking, and like that is the challenge. Like when I think about the challenge and why like I don't know about you, but like I feel like this season is going to be, maybe it's just going off episode 0, but it's going to be much more nostalgia than any other season we've had. And it makes sense, right? It's literally battle of the eras. They have people from the start of the show until now. And so like as a viewer, like I was kind of watching this episode and just like, they're showing all the old seasons, all the highlights, and like it almost like made you feel like glad that you put this much time into watching the challenge, because it felt like they were kind of like paying it back to all of the viewers. And so like when you see a pool party like this, like that's just awesome. That used to be a challenge staple. They don't really do it as much, unfortunately, anymore. But just like seeing all of these idiots, these lunatics jump in a pool, dance around, get drunk, like that's awesome. I love all of that.
Yeah, I almost feel like, and I'll bleed into, they even had like the picture frames. I know there was like a DM one. There was a flashback of DM. Jordan flipping over the cards. It was like bananas just standing there, crisscross, his arms crisscross, and I think it was Anissa next to him. Like it's so nostalgic, and that's such a great word. I almost feel like I don't think you've seen this, Alex, and this is not a joke. This is for serious. Like I wish Andy was on because I know you've seen it. This almost feels like the Avengers Endgame. Like this is it. Like all the chips are down. This is it. 30 movies or whatever it took to get us to this point. We're here. I feel like that's where we're at.
I agree, and I think something that I don't know if I mentioned this on the preview show, but I think I saw a couple listeners kind of make this point, was that like, if we expect the challenge to be on till like, let's say season 50, and they do another kind of like season where they go all out and everything, like you have to think at some point they're not going to be able to like stretch all the way back to season 1, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like 10 years from now, Mark Long will be 65 years old or whatever. Like they're no longer going to like for season 50, they'll make it a big thing. They'll get a big cast, they'll get a good cast, they'll market the shit out of it. But I don't think it'll be a battle of the eras type of thing, just because like the original era will no longer be competing. So I really do feel like right now, season 40 is like the one and only and the last time they'll ever be able to like take the most recent people who have done the season. You're always going to be able to do that, but also stretch back all the way to the beginning of the show and get like the oldest people to like actually come on and do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this really is like the last time they're ever going to do something like this. It's the last time they're ever going to be able to get like every single era of the show represented like this. And I think that's just like, it kind of feels like a huge thing, and it is, but I don't know. I just like the nostalgic aspect of all of this is just going to be fun to kind of carry on all season.
I know. And I hope they tie it in. What season was it? Was it 30 where they were like, "Oh, you have to put the order of the challenge seasons in order," kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Like I hope they do a lot of almost like All Stars this season where it was like very like, "Oh, we're doing this daily challenge from this old season." Like I like that.
yeah.
So I hope they do some of that, with their own twist to it, but just paying, homage to it. So, all right. Anything else from tonight's episode? I know, we kind of hinted at it earlier, but like Cara and Amanda, like their bad blood kind of being, I guess they made peace or whatever you want to call it. Anything else?
Um, I mean, I don't think so. I think this preview show, or what do we call it? I guess it's the challenges preview show.
It's the pre show.
The preview show just did a good job, I think, of just like, I don't know about you, but like I could have hung out with the cast just like in that little party that they had. They're all kind of like, it basically took us from like side conversation to side conversation, just like bouncing around the whole crew. And like I could have done that for like 3 hours and just like heard everybody's thoughts about like, I haven't been here for this long and I'm talking to this person who I did like 2 seasons with and I have this history with. Like there's just, with the cast this big, with the cast this wide ranging from season to season, like you have so many like lines of like connectivity between them all. It's just so fun to follow, and that's why like I'm glad that this was its own standalone thing. We didn't get to the daily. We got to kind of get used to all the cast, get their thoughts. I feel like out of 40 people, we heard from almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that we didn't, but I'm glad that this kind of got us like ready for season 40 and episode 1 next week.
Yeah, I'm fired up. I think this is literally my most anticipated season of all time. I mean,
Yeah,
we are going to be with you guys for the next 20 plus Wednesdays. Like
yeah,
it's going to be nuts. Mike the Doctor writes, as great of a cast this is, I feel like Era 2 is just missing Wes. I mean, if they had Wes, it would have been a perfect game. Like, I mean, there's still other people I wish were on, but like Wes is a big miss, I think. And I know he had like scheduling conflicts or whatever, but it is a big miss.
yeah. I mean, there's a few misses. Like if you were to say like what females describe Era 3 the best, I don't know if you're necessarily putting like Avery and John A in there.
No,
But
I think like Wes is though like a top 5 challenger of all time.
Wes is probably the biggest miss.
Yes, I think Evelyn would be an awesome female to have, but like, what would she would be? Era 2 or Era 1? Did she sneak in Era 1?
No, she would be Era 2 because Aviv was on Fresh Meat 1.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't really like you would just
Yeah,
replace her. Like, I mean that's a tough one to add. Like, you're throwing a perfect game for the girls Era 2 almost.
yeah. I mean, I don't think they had like the perfect cast, but I think it's a really, really fucking good cast, especially out of having 40 people. I think they hit on almost all of them.
Yeah. Anything else tonight, Alex?
I don't think so. I'm all fired up for episode 1. I think we are probably assuming we have 90-minute episodes, right? 90-minute episode next week. I'm hoping we get an elimination, a daily, all of that. But for any of our listeners who haven't listened to the season preview yet, maybe you've been out of the challenge world and you're kind of tuning in tonight. Go listen to our season preview. We did the full power rankings over 2.5 hours worth. That podcast is out, and then we have our little episode 0 recap here tonight. So I'm fired up. Do we want to do a quick MVP LVP?
Sure, that's fine.
All right, you or me first?
I think we got to give it up to the chat, right? MVP LVP.
Let's do it. Let's just do a quick MVP LVP. No other segments. We'll get into our full segments next week. What about? Actually, I don't know if I want to mention this person yet because it might come up in our picks.
I do want to say this episode, even though we're going to end it here in like 5 minutes, the order is going to be Alex, Trevor tonight. We've been pushing this off forever, and I feel like tonight is the perfect night to do it. I'll send it over to Alex. We still got to edit it because we pushed this off. It has been over a year now. I think we got to attach the wedding episode to this.
Dare we?
I think we have to. This has been pushed off way too long. I think in honor of the challenge, this is the perfect add-in.
Do we have the audio?
I have the audio, yeah. We have the audio.
Yeah. We'll just tack it on. And this will kind of be a season 40 treat.
Exactly. A nice little fire up. So it won't be live. There won't be live reactions with us on YouTube. But if you're listening on Spotify, that should come out probably in the next couple days when Alex loads it. Stick around. There's only about 15 minutes of uncensored wedding shenanigans. I think you yelled at me because I started recording when we were less than 5 minutes away from walking down the aisle. But, that's just me. So, yeah. Alex, Trevor tonight for our MVP, LVP. Alex, kick us off.
All right, my MVP for the night, it might kind of feel a bit obscure, and I don't know if we mentioned this person tonight, but they definitely had airtime. I'm going to go with CT.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with CT as my MVP because he just kind of had, I don't know the best way to describe it, but when they walked into the house, and I think someone else said, CT's doing the classic CT, he's walking in slow. And the way he just kind of, obviously, the DM thing played a big factor in it. And obviously, the seeing the DM tribute in this thing was awesome. I think that was really smart of the challenge to include that, to have everything up in the house. But just to see CT kind of overwhelmed with emotion when he walked into the house and seeing all these nostalgia things, it made me think there's a ton of people in this cast. There's 40 people. It really is CT and Bananas. Those are the two guys who are kind of the face of this show, the backbone of this show. Everybody else plays a huge part in their own ways, but these two guys just levitate above the rest. And CT especially, because he's Era 1, because he was doing it longer, because he has probably a more crazy history to talk about. I just think it was cool kind of seeing CT like that. And I'm glad a season 40, a Battle of the Eras without CT would have made no sense. I'm glad we have him on this season. And I just kind of like the way he sort of was just kind of the godfather of the cast at this point.
Great pick. My MVP tonight is the first thing we talked about, and it's got to be Jordan. I mean, stole the show tonight. The entrance, I'm so fired up for him back in the house. I mean, walking in with the cowboy hat. When did he become a professional race car driver?
And it's so Jordan.
I know. Just bananas. Not Johnny. But, it's going to be awesome. This season, and
Jordan's awesome.
I will say, too, and I hate to say it, he did skew my MVP vote a little bit, too. If you guys have not seen the video of him drunk talking about the season, that is a must watch. He was at what party was it? He was at was he on Zach's podcast?
I think he was on Zach's podcast. It's on the STP Twitter feed.
Yeah. It's 3 minutes long. Unbelievable content. Jordan is just blacked out drunk talking.
And there's no spoilers, right? There's
no. He doesn't spoil anything.
It's just him being hyping up the season, but in a drunk, awesome way.
Absolutely. He's just awesome. My LVP tonight, pretty basic LVP pick. I mean, there's only 2 of us here tonight, and it's day 1, and we have people not showing up. And I just don't want this to become a trend. That's all I'm saying. So I'm just putting on the watch list Andy Burge. Andy's my LVP tonight. Not
Wow.
showing up. I know it's week 0, but you still got to show up. It's work. Work is call.
Wow.
LVP. Andy.
What a pick. My LVP for tonight, I don't know. None of the cast members really made me like upset or anything. I mean, there's no dailies contest to base anything off of. So for my LVP, I guess I'll just have to pick somebody on the cast. I'm gonna go with
Adam Meadows.
I'm gonna go with Derek.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Derek. He didn't do a whole lot on. I don't know if
he was recording.
Yeah, he's probably recording his own podcast now. But I was just thinking of kind of people on the season that I'm not a huge fan of, and Derek came to mind because I almost was going to give my pick to Anissa, but the reason I didn't is because she wasn't on screen, and that's a good thing.
Jesus Christ.
When Anissa's on the season and she's not, taking up airwaves and confessionals and all that, that's kind of a good thing. Derek, like you could tell Derek, and God bless him for it, but like he was kind of getting a little into the party, oh, it's Tony time. What's up, Tony time? Like just going around to each person, just like obsessed. Like, will you come on my podcast? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to go LVP Derek tonight.
Good pick. Good pick. Honorable mentions, LVP, Meadows, not showing up in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Always a good honorable mention to have.
Over under half episode for him this season?
To be on?
Yeah.
The
line would have to be 1.5, right?
No, I think 0.5 is a fair line because I think I'm just trying to think of the great Who's Your Daddy weekend, and would we still be recording by early January? And I think there is a chance. Wait just a minute. Who's in the chat? We're talking about him. What is this? I don't even get the invites anymore. He should check his inbox because there was definitely. I can see the exact same. I mean, this is just bananas.
John.
But I think 0.5 is a great line.
I would probably still say the under.
I think he sneaks into 1, but it's close. It might be a week 18. If it's the over 1.5 invites, it's under 1.5 for sure. For sure.
Well, no, 0.5. It's invites is over because you send it to him every time.
I know. I literally send him how many invites.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I do send 1.5 invites. It's joining. Yeah, fuck off. Mikey Doctor writes, "Is this Jordan coming in last minute? Come on, stop it. Stop it." It not gonna lie, Mikey, it did put a little smirk on my face when we were talking about him, and then it just popped up. Adam Minos is in the chat. It did kind of give me a smirk. God. Alrighty. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm fired up, baby.
F you. Fired up. Here we go. What season is this that we're recording? Is this our 6th live?
On YouTube or just for the podcast?
Just in the pod. Like true, like recording the entire season.
Well, first one was Final Reckoning.
How long ago was that?
Final Reckoning, War of the Worlds, 2, Total Madness, Double Agents, Spies Lies, Ride or Dies, Season 39, Season 40.
So this is our 9th season?
It's our 9th season.
Wow. I did not expect that many. I don't know how many I got left in me, Teach. Oh, yeah. Don't sleep on Champs for Pros Stars. We also did those seasons. But this is our 9th season. Crazy.
Yeah.
Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out, Duffy.